All right. Well, welcome back, everyone. This is our mission 3 for Amazon Bedrock Agent Academy, License the Skill. We're excited today to go into our developer tools, Q developer in particular, and we have some special guests from our team. And so, just as a quick reminder, I'm Artie Merritt, the BD go-to-market specialist for Bedrock here on the West Coast. I'll let my teammates introduce themselves real quick. You want to go, Sean?
Hey everyone, John Mala, Specialist Solution Architect covering Bedrock. Uh, Rakesh?
Rakesh Kumar, I am a senior go-to-market specialist for Amazon Q,
Hi
covering startup.
team. Thanks, Rakesh. Hi team. I'm Aydin. I'm Amazon Q Specialist SA. Nice to meet you all.
It just right before we go through Q, we just wanted to give a quick reminder for folks on what AgentCore is. And part of the reason we built AgentCore is really to help make AWS the best place for your agentic AI workloads. So just as a brief reminder, AgentCore is a set of components or what some folks might call primitives to make it easier to build, deploy, and maintain agentic AI at scale in a secure way. And so one of those components is our runtime environment. And this is exactly what that means. It's to host and run your agent. You could containerize your agent, and we would handle all the scaling. You can build using whichever frameworks that you like. We have Strands SDK. Some folks like LangGraph or Crew. You can use whatever models you like, Bedrock models or otherwise. We have AgentCore Gateway for handling all the tool calling. We have some built-in tools of our own. One of them is the AgentCore Code Interpreter, which is basically like a sandbox environment for running code to prevent anything malicious happening. We have an AgentCore Browser, and that's for browser control type functionality. If you ever saw like browser use models, where the models manipulate the browser much like a human would. We have AgentCore Identity. That's for handling the authentication into the agent as well as the authentication to other services and tools. So if you were integrating, say, with Google Calendar, handling that authentication and delegating that along. We have an AgentCore memory component. And this is both the short-term contextual memory, the agent messages back and forth, and then the longer-term memory, which could be user preferences, some semantic factual memory, or even summarization. And last, there's a layer of observability across all of this so you can get better insights into the model usage as well as how your agent is operating. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Rakesh and Aidan.
Thanks, Arte. Let me share my screen. Can you folks see my screen?
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, so today we'll talk about Q Developer CLI and how it fits into the overall portfolio. So let me, okay, apologies. So is this good, Arte?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I wanted to start by sort of sharing our overall agentic AI portfolio and trying to frame how all these pieces fit together in a broader scheme. Last two sessions we talked about agent core, strands, and today we are going to talk about our generative AI assistant Q Developer CLI. So if you look at it, we have different stacks. At the bottom, you have the infrastructure layer where you might be familiar with SageMaker and compute some of the compute chips, and then Bedrock we have been talking about. And whether you are trying to build quickly deploy a pre-built agent to boost productivity or with open source tools, or build a fleet of sophisticated custom agents, we have tools, models, and infrastructure to help you succeed. And AWS also offers a robust infrastructure and custom silicon and data foundation to help you through your agentic AI journey. So at the top layer, we have Amazon Q and Kiro and some other applications. These are pre-built managed applications that customers are using to accelerate their agentic AI journey. So let's move to the next slide. Here, let's look at how there are two paths that customers are typically taking. First is with the pre-built agentic solutions, which we'll talk about, and those are typically people are using for accelerating software development. And the other piece is where you are using your custom agents and you're customizing the agents that you have using some of the strands and AgentCore and some of the other services that we talked about in prior sessions. So let's just focus on the pre-built agentic solutions, and that's where Q Developer CLI comes in. And this is our tool to help accelerate the uh, uh, coding of, as well as also help you with certain AWS specific tasks that folks are using AWS infrastructure for. So let's talk about SDLC, right? Everyone knows about software development lifecycle, and you have some of the things that we have talked about here, starting from design and prototyping to coding, but there are also steps which are quite undifferentiated, and a lot of developers don't like either writing test cases or writing documentation. And what this tool does is essentially allows you to automate a lot of those tasks and focus on some of the high value tasks in terms of being able to spend a lot of time on design and requirements gathering and some of that. So we have taken this approach that this coding assistant that we are going to demo today can address all the aspects of SDLC. And we don't stop there. We also basically have deeper integration into the AWS console. So the CLI essentially not just allows you to write code and run tests or do documentation, but you can use the CLI as an AWS Cloud Ops or DevOps tool. And you can, with deeper integrations into AWS services, you can use this tool to access APIs and resources. You can ask it to troubleshoot issues, or not just stop there, but also be able to remediate some of those issues. So that's extremely important for folks who have their infrastructure deployed on AWS. And also we have ability to integrate with a lot of MCP servers, be AWS specific MCP servers or external MCP servers. You can do those integrations from within the tool. So here we are talking about some of the recent features that have been announced. Custom agents allows you to customize the behavior of this tool as specific to your code base or your specific business requirements. You can create those markdown files and provide instructions so that the agent basically provides recommendations that are customized for your specific requirements. Example that we are talking about is you can create a code review agent and specify what linting analysis tools that the code review has to use, and you can create that agent so that it adheres to your specific requirements. The second piece is around providing additional context, right? Oftentimes, we are not writing code from scratch. That we have existing repos, existing workspaces, and we want to either add additional functionality feature or update some of that code. So we want to bring that additional context to the workspace, and that's how using the slash context feature, you can provide more relevant and context-aware uh, mm, information to the coding agent, and it will make sure that your responses are accordingly tailored for that workspace. We also introduced recently the slash knowledge command, and this is essentially a way for you to create a local knowledge base within your local environment, so that you can search and manage the contextual information in a much better fashion, and it persists across your different chat sessions. And it is also a way to reduce some of the context window limitations you might run into. So that is a very neat feature that got announced recently. And this is all a command line interface, so it has access to all the command line tools that you typically expect. You can read and write content to the file system. You can do a lot of AWS related actions and troubleshooting, as I talked about. And it also has this ability to always keep human in the loop. So you have the option to either fully trust some of those actions, or being able to decline or accept some of those specific actions that the tool is taking. So Aiden here will demo the tool in detail, and we can walk through some of those functionalities. I I think in summary, what I would say is that as you are evaluating these tools, I think you have the options to pick the best right path that fits your needs. Today we are going to talk about Amazon Q CLI, which is our pre-built managed solution. But if you're looking to build custom agents, you have the option to use AgentCore and Strands. And the third option is if you can also use some of the programs that we have in terms of Gen AI Innovation Center and AWS Agent Path program, and some other partner programs that I have access to. So let me pause there. I'll transfer it over to Aiden for demo.
Thanks, Rakesh. Everybody can see my screen, right? Visual Studio.
Yes.
Perfect. So now I'm going to show you basically how you can use Amazon Q CLI to build any application. But for this demo, I'm going to focus to build agentic application, finance agentic application, which can answer finance question to users. Under the hood, we're going to use basically AgentCore strands to build it. But for code generation, I'm going to use Q CLI, basically vibe coding style, to build this agentic application. So as Rakesh mentioned, you can install Q CLI in your Visual Studio Code as an extension. I already installed in CLI terminal command. You can see here it's just it's ready for me to basically type. And here basically I provided like a bunch of files. This is my project specification, like finance assistant, basically project MD file. I created like ask MD file, defined what I need for this application. Basically, we are going to build finance assistants. This finance assistant has multi-agentic application. Basically, user can send request to orchestrator agent based on the user ask. It will route the request to different agentic application, like one budget agent or financial analyst agent. Budget agent has different tools to calculate the basically budget, create finance charts, calculator. Financial analysis agent can basically compare stock performance. It can access to Y Finance SDK to basically get the current stock information. Basically, entire full agentic application. So I put all those details here, what his finance agent can do. And then I mentioned for UI, I need Streamlit UI, keep it super simple. And then for model, I'm using Cloud Sonnet 4. Basically for inferencing the agent response, I'm using Sonnet 4. And these are the agent specification, like finance analysis needs to do this, that. I already captured those here. And then in chat, in Q chat, you can ask any question. Basically, you can ask what is Amazon AgentCore. So Q can generate a response based on you. Basically, you can do research, or you are building MCP server. You can ask Q, how do I build MCP server? Q will generate the code, but now I'm going to try to build it. So I'm going to copy this prompt. This is my simple prompt. Can you build the solution? Describe it below using the strands and AgentCore. Check ask MD file. Basically, I provided all those agentic specification requirement there. And then image file, basically to understand the diagram. Basically, Q can read the diagram as well. Let's say you have architecture diagram, you can provide to the Q as a prompt and tell Q, can you read this diagram and build the code for me, or basically review my architecture. You can do all those things. So basically my prompt says, check this file and this diagram, and then do your research using KB tools first, basically understand how to implement AgentCore, and then start building and implementing for me. So let me paste this one here. So I just paste the natural language request here. Under the hood, Q is going to read the requirement files. Basically, it has a read access to my code base requirement.md file. It can understand the use case. It can read the image diagram. Here, I provided how to build it. Basically, I'm giving more information to agent to build it. And I explicitly mentioned for building, you need to do some research, learn how to build AgentCore, SDK, all those integration. Because I basically how I did, I created knowledge base under the hood. Q has access to knowledge base. This knowledge base can be your company proprietary codes, or some code doesn't exist in outside, right? Something is custom made based on your. But here, what I did, I imported AgentCore repo to my laptop, created knowledge base, and ask you when you are building, do your research from knowledge base, understand how to build it, then implement for me. So now it's going to access the knowledge tools. So I'm going to say yes, I allow you to access. Basically here you can say yes, no, and go to basically trust mode, autopilot mode. So it's going to read how to build agentic application. Basically it's doing the research, initial research, learn how to build it based on my needs, and then it's going to move to the next phase, which is the implementation phase. So and now it's just doing the search and knowledge to learn. Now it knows how to build it. It's going to create a to-dos list. For to-do list, basically it needs to create a project structure, and then it start building agentic applications. And then once implemented, create like a UI and test UI, and they deploy to AgentCore. So for requirement.txt, it's going to basically install all those SDK needed to build this agentic application. As I mentioned, I'm using this Trans SDK framework to build agentic. I'm using Bedrock AgentCore for deployment. And as in the image you saw, it was Y Finance. It was able to read the image, understand we need to use Y Finance to get the current stock price, and Streamlit for just hosting UI. So I'm going to say yes, start building it. Created requirement.txt file for our project. So it's going to now move to next phase, which is building the agentic application. So as you can see, it's easy. With chat interface, you can ask your questions or build this code for me, and Q will start building that. And once it's done, you can ask it, can you deploy it into my AWS account? Q can build for you, but I will show you how it works. So here, created budget agent. So I want to show you the code. Here, it's going to use basically Bedrock model using a strands. This is how calculate budget framework, just the tools. Analyze the spending patterns, going to write those code. And I'm just reviewing everything. And then I say, okay, yes, going to create the file for me, budget agent py. Again, if you are really good on coding, you want to customize it, write yourself, you can do that, or you can start from scratch and then modify it. If you don't know how to use SDK for strands or AgentCore, you can use Q to build it and then customize it. The way I do, I go to basically AWS repo, find out how they build the code. I mean, other experts, AWS service team. So there's like a Git repo, public repo, so you can basically clone them and train Q based on that repo. Q can build the same code for you, same styles, following the same best practices. So now it's creating financial analyst agent, importing Y Finance, all those things to get the stock information. So I'm going to say yes. We have now finance agent py created. And here provided prompt as well. Basically, your expertise includes real-time stock analysis and metrics, investment recommendation, risk tolerance. And when user asked about this question, use these tools. And So it's just building those. So, and then next one is orchestrator agent. In diagram, we had orchestrator agent, right? Basically, request first goes to orchestrator agent. Orchestrator agent will decide, okay, if user is asking about budget, I need to transfer to budget, or financial analyst agent, other agent. So this is the code. Let me review it. Using route to budget agent, basically router. And here's the big prompt. Analyze user queries to determine which specialist agent to consult. Okay, I'm going to say yes. So orchestrator agent is ready. And now we have basically orchestrator agent, budget agent, financial analyst agent, and Q can complete to-dos list. I created the structure, created those agents, mark them as a complete. Now it's going to move to UI section, basically build a Streamlit UI. Basically, we can test those agentic application. I want to highlight something here. README file is not ready, but let's wait for Streamlit. So it's going to build now a Streamlit application. Let's check the code. It's importing Streamlit. And it's building the UI using a Streamlit framework. You can use Q basically to build for any type of application. For this demo, I'm using for agentic application, but you can do for other type of use case like machine learning, analytic pipeline, data processing. It has access to AWS API under the hood. It's trained based on AWS best practices. It can build, but if you have some code, Q doesn't understand your code base, you can bring your code as a knowledge and provide those contexts to the queue to build. That's what I'm doing today here. So basically, I'm providing the custom knowledge, how to build agentic application through the knowledge feature, and Q is able to build it for me. So as you can see here, application is done, almost done. It created README file as well. So it documented everything in README file. I can understand everything, how application agentic flows. Let's see, let's review them. So basically multi-agent finance assistance. So it describes about our budget agent. Budget agent has various tools. Financial analyst agent has various tools. Orchestration agent responsibility basically to route the request based on the request. We are using Python 3.8. I think this is older version. I should have mentioned use 3.13, but we can update that. How to clone the repo and install it, and then usage, basically how to start the app. And it gives me some example question as well, like create a budget for 6,000 monthly income. So it's basically test scenario. It helps you basically to create a README file. You can also ask you basically to create a diagram, add the diagram to the README file as well. But now let's do some tests here. So it's going to now test the system. It found out Y Finance is not installed. It's going to install that for me. Pip install Y Finance pandas. I say yes, install for me. It's going to basically, I need to interrupt here, install all the packages and run for me. Okay, it's going to install all those packages. We got some error here. Let's see how it's going to fix it. Okay, it's going to create a virtual environment and then install there. So it was able to fix itself. So let's see. As you can see here, it created budget requirement.txt has all the requirement package and tools we need for this finance assistant. Okay, it should take a few minutes to complete. Okay, now it's going to test. I say yes, tested. It created a test system script for me. I'm going to review what this test is doing. Okay, test is complete. Basically, it got some error regarding my model. I think it's using 3.5 Sonnet. So I'm going to ask, can you use Sonnet 4 model instead? Looks like my account doesn't have enough capacity for 3.5. I'm going to ask use Sonnet 4 model. I'm going to change my inference to Sonnet 4. Let's see if it understands that. It's going to, I don't know, for some reason, it's just you pointing to 4, but I can't find the example code. Okay, I'm going to choose Amazon Nova model instead. It's going to update that. It's going to update all the finance agent to use Nova model. Say yes. It's going to basically edit the code 99241 to use Nova model. Say yes. And then run the test again. I need to check the code to make sure it's using Nova model. Yes, updated to Nova Pro version 1. Basically for inference, it's using Nova model. Meantime, it's testing. Do you have any questions? Feel free to ask if you have any questions regarding Q or anything.
You can either ask the questions in the text or raise your hand, whatever you feel more comfortable.
So I'm going to ask you basically to run the UI. So see our application is running. So let's test it. Okay, I see multi-agent for finance assistant is ready. So let's ask some question here. Can you tell me what is Amazon stock price today? Okay, processing your request. Let's see how it works. Okay, system is working. Awesome. So it was able to basically use my agent. Let's see the logs. That logs is not showing here, but I can show it in the console. It was able to basically use Y Finance tools. Request goes to orchestrator agent. Orchestrator agent will decide, okay, for a stock, I have another agent that's responsible for it, which is finance analyst agent. And the finance analyst agent has a tools under the hood, which is calling Y Finance to get the live stock information. So it was able to show for me Amazon stock. Now I'm going to try another one. Create a budget for 5,000 monthly income. So let's see how the agent works. Under the hood, request goes to basically Nova Pro Amazon model and to basically do inference and get the result and then generate the response back to our things. So created basically for me 5,000 income budget agent. So you can see the response here. And yeah, our agentic application works, but let me show you the code piece. I think I'll show you, but I want to show you again so you can see full details. So basically, orchestrator agents, I'm using Bedrock model. So I'm importing Bedrock model into Strands SDK. And then for other agent, for example, budget agent, we already have a tools. We are importing those tools to orchestrator agent. So this is basically a Strands SDK, and there's documentation is available, so you can check them out. You can also bring other model as well, like GPT model. But for this demo, I'm using Amazon model, but you can have your own model as well. But this is just a SDK to help you to write the code. With few lines of code, you can build agentic application like I did here. So you can change this to your use cases, use for your other use cases. There are plenty of examples. So, but yeah, few lines of code you can build. Here, just simple with Python SDK wrapper, you can build the agentic, and this is the prompt Q created for us based on the ask.md file we provided earlier. Based on that, basically, it will use the tools. This is your main prompt. For other tools, you have route to budget agent, route to finance agent, and coordinate multi-agent response to other tools. And yeah, this is how it works. Now, next phase, this agent is running locally. It's on my laptop. But if you want to host it in your AWS, you can use AgentCore to basically host your agentic application. Think about it kind of serverless environment. So you can host your agent there, and you don't need to worry about managing servers, clusters. It's just secure where you can provision your agentic application inside the AgentCore. I'm going to ask.
Hayden, there's a question if you like. It's from Milad. Does
Sure.
Q take care of security tools required, like creating IAM roles and enabling benchmark models in AWS? How come we can run
Yes.
this? Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. Yes. Q can create IAM roles, all those necessary permission needed. For deployment, Q can create a Terraform, CloudFormation, or here I created with scripts, but you can ask it, can you convert this to Terraform or CloudFormation and deploy to AWS? It can create IAM roles as well. So here I'm going to basically, absolutely you can do that. It can create IAM roles.
I didn't maybe once you are done with this flow, I think what it would make sense to talk about some of those AWS specific integrations in terms of how you can deploy a CloudFormation template or do some troubleshooting and things like that, where it can access the console and do some of those tasks.
Yes, I can show you those as well. So
there's also a question here about strands. Can you say something about how one wraps existing code to be made available to the agent as tools?
So let me show you. We have a feature called knowledge inside the queue. So basically, you just type /knowledge and then provide path of your code. In this case, I imported all those. Let me show you in the folder so you can see better. The way it works, let me open my browser. I created project. Inside the project, I cloned all those AWS sample codes for Agentic Core application or sample for Strands SDK. I cloned those repo locally inside my laptop. And in Q, you can use /knowledge commands, provide the path of the file, and then Q will index those code base locally. And then when we are writing the code, we ask before writing, can you do your research using KB tools or knowledge tools? Q will access those knowledge. Basically, it does indexing locally, and it does semantic search to the concept, understand how to build the code, and then based on that, it will create the code. So this could be for any use case. For this one I'm using for AgentCore, you can use it for your company. Let's say you have private repo, you want to index those locally, but the information stays in your laptop. So Q does not use your code base to train its model. Everything sits in locally. So, but those information provided as a context to Q can use those to build the code. Does that answer your question, Brian?
There was another question around, I think, how does let me read it. How does KB how are KB tools provided to Q? And I tried to answer it. I think so. Basically, what you are doing is first cloning that knowledge base onto your local, and then using the slash knowledge command.
Yes, I think let me share with you the steps as well. So it's called Amazon Q Developer. Let me share with you. Again, we will share with you all this information. It's called knowledge management. I'm pasting in the chat. That's how I use it. So now let me show you something else. I'm going to, can you deploy this agentic application into AWS using AgentCore? Do your research using KB tools. So basically, I created knowledge tools. I created alias for it. I'm telling you, do your research first and then deploy. Because I don't want LLM to do its own thing, right? Create cloud formation. I want to use a specific how to deploy Agent Core. And I have that best practices inside the code repo. So as you can see, it's asking me, should I access your knowledge? I say, yes, you're allowed to access it. So it's going to do semantic search into my code repo, understand how we have defined those. And here it's going to basically create a starter toolkit for deployment steps. It's going to create a script and then deploy to AWS. But now it's going to create added additional steps, basically deploy agent to agent core at runtime. So it's going to now create those repo, basically script to deploy it. Meantime, it's doing its job. I'm going to open another session. Let me see. It's going. I'm going to open another session here. You can just type Q chat. I'm going to start a new session with Q and ask you basically build another application for me, which has, can you create a Bedrock agent with IAM permissions? And I need these in CloudFormation templates. So I want to show you it is able to basically create IAM permission, Bedrock agent. My prime prompt is not perfect, but if you have the right prompt, like a concise prompt, oh, I need this application with this functionality, with restricted access, everything, you will create those for you. But yeah.
So I didn't know, but while it's filling it up, I think one question that Karthik has is, are there constraints on the size and complexity of KB code that can be accessed by Q? And can we assume that it will always figure out how to use the KB properly? Um, I think I assume you're referring to the not. I mean, is that KB? You're essentially referring to the knowledge base that we pulled in the queue. Is that fair understanding, or is that not correct?
Yeah, I was considering like the repo that you point towards that he showed us.
Yeah, then in that case, the slash knowledge will always, because you're specifying in the prompt, right? You have to use KB. So in that case, it will always pull whatever is available in that repo, and it will figure it out. So that's what Aiden is showing here, right? So if he had just asked, deploy this on AWS, it would have probably gotten and created a Lambda function and done all that, right? But he's specifically saying using AgentCore and use KB to understand how do you use AgentCore runtime. And You are just restricted to that specific service and service. I didn't. You want to elaborate any further?
Sure. Yeah. Basically, now how KB works. KB, you are bringing your repo. You are basically creating embedding of basically creating knowledge base in locally under the hood. Q will index those repo in your laptop. So, and then when we ask, oh, can you use KB tools? Q is going to do semantic search in your repo, basically, and then get the answer. Provide those as a context to this session. But those context provided to session does not consume your context window limits. Uh, it has a limitation of 10,000 files. If your repo you have a larger repo like 15,000, 20,000, you want to only bring those specific, it has a 10,000 limitation, basically. So like, for example, you can bring a specific knowledge to Q, tell them, this is how to build a payment system application. This is code repo. You can build a knowledge base based on that. And then basically that way you are customizing Q behavior. So you don't want Q to use LLM knowledge to build the payment system. You want Q to basically use your code base and follow the same thing you follow as a company best practices to build the code. That's how it works.
Thank you.
So yeah, so I wanted to show you here other session like basically created AgentCore YAML file for me, CloudFormation, with all those IAM permissions, roles needed by CloudFormation. Yes, Q can build those for you as well. So you can also use Q to troubleshoot the application. Let's say you build the application. Other day, my agentic application was failing. And then I ask you, can you help me to troubleshoot? Q can query your CloudWatch logs, understand Bedrock logs, what's failing. And the issue was I was hitting the capacity. So I had to increase the capacity or change the model. So basically, Q can help you to troubleshoot the application as well. So it's basically simple. Can you check Bedrock logs and tell me what is failing? Just Q will translate those to the AWS APIs call, and it will use CloudWatch logs here to get the information. As you can see, this graph-like group is going to find the Bedrock log group and then use those as a troubleshooting steps. So it's going to find the logs and understand it and then read. I said errors, but there is no error. So looks like everything is running healthy. So yeah, you can use Q in the terminal, you can use Q in IDE. And also if you are using Amazon Console, AWS Console, Q is available in AWS Console as well. Oh, I need to sign in again. Let's sign in here. So in AWS Console, we have Q's chat session. If you have a question about your AWS billing, best practices, or how do I save costs for my servers, you can use there. But here won't generate code for you. This is just for operational tasks, like how many EC2 instances I'm running. Should I buy savings plan, RIs, or show me all the servers they are running are older version, operational tasks you can use. But for code generation, if you want to build the code, so you require to install Q CLI in your laptop terminal and then use them in the Visual Studio Code so it can create the code for you. But Q, it's not integrated in other services as well. Like if you're using SageMaker, you want to build a SageMaker notebook or application inside the SageMaker. For training jobs, you can use Q there. Q integrated there as well in Jupyter Notebook. Or you're using Q for troubleshooting CloudWatch logs. Q is integrated in CloudWatch as an AI investigation application. And yeah, it's integrated in other services as well. But for this workshop, I wanted to show you how you can use Q to build agentic application, which is AgentCore and strengths. But yeah, feel free, let us know if you have any other use cases or if you have any question about Q AgentCore, happy to answer.
Do folks have additional questions at all? In case folks are thinking of questions, I just want to share a link here. If you feel comfortable providing feedback, this is a link to a survey, and it just helps us make these sessions better. And you can provide, if there's anything you'd like to see in future ones, we would definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, and then I didn't. One of the things that we can talk about also about is this Q is built on Bedrock. It's a managed service built on Bedrock. And it's a flat price for $19 per user per month, and basically you don't have to worry about token limit and all those LLM complexities that go with other tools and as such. And then having been built on Bedrock, it comes with a lot of governance guardrails and controls that you would expect from Bedrock. So you have a lot of granular controls in terms of permissions and security that you can set, and you can provision all that through the AWS console option where you'll subscribe Q users, and you can set those permissions through the console.
Thanks, Rakesh. Yeah, I was playing with a README file. I asked it to basically add architecture diagram to the README file. The architecture I show you for our agentic application added. It was too big. I asked it to resize it. So now I'm going to ask like update our model, each model we are using. So it's updating README with the model. So yeah, you can use Q for any use cases. You can customize it for providing knowledge, context, any type of use cases. That's it, team. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna let me share the final screen here with the survey links and all. Um, oop. So I cut and pasted the links into the chat, but if folks feel comfortable providing feedback, we definitely appreciate to make these better. Oh, there's one more question just came in. Do you recommend any metrics developers should be monitoring when using Q CLI, Q Developer? Just curious how to know if there's any monitoring and observability guidance for customers when using these services.
Can you please elaborate more, like what type of metric you are referring? Metric for agentic application or metric for using in general for AWS services?
Yeah, hey, Aiden, this is Kartik. Yeah, I'm trying to basically understand, how when we use RDS, we recommend that, hey, by the way, you should be watching these kind of metrics and keep an eye on these metrics out of the box in CloudWatch. Whether it's EC2 instances, RDS, things like that, basically, or
That's a great question.
even
Yes, basically.
S3 guidance that you guys are providing on that front, similar for Q CLI and Q Develop.
That's a great question. Yes, basically for EC2 RDS, there are a bunch of metrics that can be like checked, like CPU metrics or memory metrics if you configure CloudWatch custom metrics. But again, you can use Q. Q can create a dashboard for you, CloudWatch dashboard. The other day, I had one use case. I asked Q, this is my stack deployed into AWS account. Can you create a CloudWatch dashboard for it? Single unified dashboard so I can monitor entire application. My application had like EC2, RDS, Lambda. So Q, it's trained on best practices. It can basically guide users. Okay, you're using EC2, you want to consider checking CPU metrics, basically. And if your application is intense IO, you want to check EBS volumes, metrics.
So,
but again, depends on your application.
Yeah, sorry for the interruption, Aiden. Where I was going with my question was, are there metrics for Q CLI and Q developer themselves as a service?
No,
Right?
so there are
Like where, for
I-
example, where
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
for example, if I am a developer, yo, I'm sorry, guys. As a developer, when I'm using Q CLI or Q developer, if I want to, are there any specific utilization metrics of Q CLI that I should be, as a developer, should be monitoring?
The only thing that you might run into is the 200K context window. That's the only thing that you as a developer should be monitoring. And as you approach that, it will prompt you to compact it because we are limited by that 200K context window. But beyond that,
Okay.
there is nothing else that you have to monitor. As an admin, we provide certain metrics that as an admin you can track if your team of developers are sort of what percentage of code is being recommended, who is using it, how often they're using it, what different functionalities they're using it in terms of what different commands are they using in their terminal or are they using in the IDE. So those things you can monitor in admin. But as an individual developer, you don't have to worry about any observability whatsoever not. I think the only thing that I said is 200K context window. But beyond that, you don't have to worry about which model, how much token, what's all those things you don't have because it's a managed service. We are taking care of all that.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, that's what I was trying to understand basically. And that helps. Okay. Thank you.
And there is a command called /usage you can use basically to track how many token you're using, how many contexts you're using within that session. But again, you can have multiple sessions open with different tasks, running different tasks with Q. So that way you can have multiple sessions in parallel.
Okay.
And then, yeah, there are certain best practices as well. I mean, if you are sort of integrating with hundreds of MCP servers, that would eat your context window as well, right? So that some of those things, best practices, you would follow with any other tool.
Okay. Yeah, I'll reach out if I have any other questions as I experiment with this.
Sounds
Yes,
good.
I pasted few links in the chat, like MCP best practices. Those are very helpful. And yeah, please check them out. Yeah.
There are also a bunch of AWS specific MCP servers that you can integrate with to do a lot of AWS specific tasks. We have MCP servers for documentation and RDS and cost optimization and a bunch of other MCP servers as well.
Got it.
Yeah, I put it in the chat as well. With links.
Thanks.
We're just about out of time. I don't know if there's one last question. Otherwise, maybe perhaps we just thank everyone for attending. Thanks to Ada and Rakesh for going over Q. That was really cool. But we appreciate everyone for attending the session. And I shared the link to the next one next Friday. So you're welcome to come back and we'll try to find a place to post all these so you can rewatch them. But I appreciate everyone attending.
Thank you, Tim.
All right. Well, thanks, everyone. I hope you have a good weekend.
Thanks, folks.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for the session.